What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of 4 Dummies, and tonight I am joined with the other 3 dummies. I have Mrs. Skullface.
Hello.
Mr. Just One.
Yo, what's happening?
And Mr. Robert Detoff.
Reading is cool!
And if you'd like to hear the uncut version of this, you can check it out where we nerd shame each other for nerd stuff that we think is nerdier than the stuff that we're nerdy into. And that's at the Patreon $5 level. Otherwise, you know the routine. Check your feelings at the door. This is a collection critique. We're going to continue. And our first entry tonight is from, I feel like Jiska's going to be biased to this already, Jordan.
Oh, yeah, good.
He sent a lot of photos. So I want to jump in on this straight away. This is another one of those like dust phobia displays. And I completely understand wanting to keep your figures free of dust. I get it. But if you're going to do it, you've got to do it better than this.
Yeah, what's up with these cabinets? They're like, are they repurposed like utility cabinets?
It looks almost like it. And there's so much, pardon me, going on in here. If you look at the one Megatron figure that he has, I like the Megatron focus shelf. Like, I dig that as an idea. I think it's cool. You got a G1, you got this like that action robo one or whatever, and then there's like a movie one behind that. I think that's cool. I dig that. But you got the one doing the ultimate, pardon me, with the crouch down, fist up. Like, you're doing everything to get him in there. And I mean, I respect it, but it does look forced. And then you go down to the Jetfire. He's bent over, having a belly laugh at Optimus's expense, perhaps. But you know, once again, just to fit him in there. And it's shelves. Like, your figures are posed in those shelves. I think that's cool. It's just like,
so look, here's a guy that's made the best with what he had.
Yeah, I'll co-sign that.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, all right, I look at the space. Like, I think this is. I mean, I don't know, man. You need new shelves, dude.
You need new shelves. You need new shelves.
That big Megatron looks
that Megatron's terrible in there. Get that thing out of there, man.
If you look at
Megatron, he's knocking on the window like, when's lunch?
If you look at the one picture of the Optimus Primes, he's got like the one Optimus standing there in the middle with like the fists on his hips, you know? Mm-hmm. It looks behind him like he's like at like a school, like a high school play. Like there's like a backdrop, like... You know what I mean? Like, you know, and I don't know. This ain't it, man. It's the shelves. The shelves are holding you back. You know how to display your figures. You know how to pose them. You understand risers. You understand layout. You get it. But you got to get also these shelves out of your house.
You just don't understand that these shelves are terrible.
Yeah, you got to get some new shelves. This ain't it. I think go Magicase. Go custom Magicase. They come with the lights. They're expensive, but so are these figures.
Very scratchable, though.
I wonder, too, if he can remove those glass doors off of the shelves.
Oh, I think that's key for him.
I think they hinge up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they do, but they got to be adjustable because they don't line up. They're the same height, and the shelves don't line up, right?
I agree.
This is a missed opportunity because if they can flip up and then slide in like a file cabinet,
they can.
He's missing out on shelving space.
Are each one its own box and they're just stacked on top of each other?
Yeah.
I think that's what they are.
No, because then where would the cap come from at the top?
I would.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Right.
I would like. You could have double shelves in here. You could have a front shelves, have like the doors, like push them in halfway, and you just added shelves to this, and you put risers behind them on the proper shelves. You could have something looking pretty cool and different. Try that out, man. Are
these last photos what's this last one of all this wire? Laura, I'm surprised you didn't say anything about that one.
Well, I'm still digesting.
Wire?
Yeah, is this the next thing? It looks like there's like at the very end, it's like a bookcase, and in the middle of the bookcase is like a diorama.
Yes.
It's not really a diorama.
Yeah. That's also his. He's got a lot of books.
He's got Game of Thrones. Look at that.
You got a picture of.
I like the family photos and stuff, but they can't sit in front of the books. Like, you got to move the books out of the way and give the photos their own space.
Yeah, I think the only thing you can put in front of those books is figures. I would much rather you mix your figures in with these books and get rid of that whole other shelf. Like, I think you could do something more interesting with the furniture that you have now that I see this thing.
Dude, shout out to this guy's swear jar.
Does he have one? Is it full?
No.
So anyway, I don't know that I feel like these shelves are like not helpable. Like I said, I feel like I'm not sure that they are super inexpensive shelves. So I think saying they got to go is...
No, they got to go.
Anyway, if there's some way to remove that glass piece, like I think that removing that like extra gray frame will really open up the shelves significantly.
So I agree.
Yeah, that's
I know you're saying he wants the dust proof, and maybe he does, but I'm just saying that's part of the problem with those shelves is like that makes it feel squished in there.
I think the only reason why he got these in the first place
was for the dust.
Well, and if you're that worried about dust, here's the thing about the dust thing. If you're that worried about dust, buy a Magic case. And if you say the Magic case is too expensive, then either A, you're not that worried about dust, or B, you don't care what your figures look like on the displays. That's the only way it works that I've seen.
And I like the Megatron shelf too, but I do like he's like he would look better like that on a bigger shelf.
I think that Megatron would look 10 times better standing up.
I don't know. I feel like he's put a lot of effort into this.
I do too.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
No, I think he did. He blacked out
has.
all the shelving space, right? Like all of the shelves here are blacked out, and then the lights are added in and all that. Like he's posed all of his figures. Like there is thought, care, and stuff in here. It's just it's the wrong furniture.
Yeah. Maybe you should try a Detolf. I don't know.
All right, let's move on to the next one. This is Ambriz. He's got some dioramas he's working on.
Okay. You need lights.
You do need lights.
That's kind of, I think it's okay. I think you just need lights. It looks like you're just starting out. You're trying to figure out how to set these shelves up.
Well,
you haven't quite figured it out.
We have a lot of big things, and I think they look weird using like a half of the cabinet with one shelf or like only 3 shelves on the cabinet. I think like those big things need to go maybe to the top or have some other, you know what I mean? Like they're just, it's too simple just to have like 1 or 2 things on these.
You gotta get some legends around those big bots with the big ones that are at least not vertically challenged there.
I think what looks odd to me is that this red locker that you have sticks out further than the shelf, so I just don't like the way that looks, and the fact that it's red. Like I think if you're going to keep it, maybe paint it.
I was going to say, I actually don't hate that red locker because I feel like it's like a little bit of a pop of a color in there with all the gray.
You don't like that it sticks out too far? It doesn't bother you that it's not kind of flush with everything else?
So no, not necessarily.
Bobby loves this just because he's got that penguin.
I just think it's
that's
amazing.
That's pretty funny. That penguin caught my eye too.
I think what's amazing in this collection, in this display, is the centerpiece is a red locker on which stands Unicron, which deserves to be front and center. And then you have a blue piece of paper with a foot and a shoe, and standing next to Unicron is some type of shelf or something laying on its side. Like that's the only place this thing can go.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm sure that could be tidied up.
It looks like a floating shelf, maybe getting ready to be hung.
Maybe over top.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I think the spacing around the Unicron also looks a little bit odd. It's like you just have this whole wall. So I don't know if you're building these dioramas. Maybe you build a diorama that fits that Unicron that goes kind of in that space. That may be cool.
And he has a lot of, like, Laura's right in the sense that, like, he has a lot of big bots. Like, like this collection is largely.
And then these little ones on the top.
No pun intended.
Yeah, big bots. And, like, I don't know. There might be a better way to kind of mix those up. I don't know. This is hard. This is a hard one to critique.
Yeah, because you have large figures that are hard to place, and then kind of mismatched furniture, which is fine, but it's hard aesthetically. It's just hard to make it work.
This to me is like, get rid of these boxes on the shelves for one. Like that's an easy one. Remove the boxes. After the boxes have been removed, I might take all of this stuff down and start over. Like I don't think you've made any critical errors, which is like that's what you've got going for you. Is that like everything here is set up for success. It's just a matter of working it out. So like I would take everything off and rearrange and then start putting stuff back. I would ground the bigger bots at the bottom, smaller bots at the top. I like the ideas that you're doing with the dioramas. I like the ideas that you're doing with the risers. Like you have a pretty significant War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron collection, which I think is cool. We don't see too much of that. It's just a matter of making it work. It's like you haven't got it yet, but you haven't up yet.
Right. I would even consider, now that I'm looking at this, take the Unicron and swap it out with the Penguin. I think it may look better in that corner. And then you could take the Penguin and maybe these little things that are on the shelves and put them on this red thing.
I think as he's turning that corner from the hallway, someone's shirt's going to clip a little horn.
Yeah, that's a possibility too.
I actually kind of, I know I'm being disagreeable, but I think I like the Unicron on that. I do think we need something above it.
That might be the floating shelf, to be fair.
So it could be, but if it's the floating shelf, it's still something that's going to have to go fairly tall, or like a framed art print or something. But I do feel like you have to fill in that space. But I feel like Unicron has such a
presence in the background there. Those trumpet tops?
What are you talking about?
Why does he have like 3 trumpet tops?
Maybe he's a trumpet.
Oh, in the
player.
back?
What are those? Golden hats? Upside down golden hats? What are those?
Drums?
Flower pots, maybe?
No idea. I don't have the best advice for you, and I think it's because you haven't really screwed it up yet. But
don't keep going.
Yeah, don't keep going. You gotta sort it out. You gotta sort this out to move forward. Get rid of those boxes. Spread some stuff out. Put the bigger stuff at the bottom. Smaller stuff at the top.
Spacing.
It's unbalanced. You got to balance this out.
Yeah, balance the force here. Let's move on to the next one. This is Oscar. He's got detolfs. They have backdrops. Like I'm usually not a fan of this sort of thing, but I think his Dinobots, that's how you do a Dinobot detolf. I'll say that.
Right.
He's got Soar on a stand. He's got the 4 with the arc set up behind it. It's lit. It's off the floor. He's got books on the bottom. Like, well done.
That was good.
Right, yeah, it's done right. Good. I think it looked good.
Yeah, you nailed that.
He did. I love it.
If I was to nitpick, I would say not have them all face the same way, but that's a minor thing. You did great.
Yeah, Dinobots look great.
Now let's move on to the rest. So the rest to me is pretty much this other set of 3, and I think it's not awful.
For me, it's a balance thing. So I prefer the bigger things to be on the bottom, again, like a pyramid, and the smaller things to be on the top. So I would move the combiners down
and split them.
Yeah, right. Because since you only have the 2, right, so it balances it out.
Yeah,
and it's not bad. And then I would get rid of the art behind it because I feel like the art gets lost a little bit behind these detolfs.
Yeah, I agree. And I also I would face the jets forward at the top of the detolf. They might not all be able to fit up there. That might be why you have them going this way. But I still think it would look better, and you just might have to sacrifice some.
But look, he blacked out the back, which I think is the way to go on a detolf. Yeah, it makes it look nice. It frames it in.
Up top, is that a shadow box with Legends figures in it? It is.
Looks good.
But one issue I have is I think another thing that messes up looking at it is you got Constructor with Legends, and then he's got the Zeta Superion with the Fans Toys MP, and it's just dissonant. You know, you're like,
yeah,
that's because they're next to each other.
Yeah,
if you split them on either side, I think it would be less of you would notice it less.
Well, he's also, I mean, there's an elephant in the room here, and that he's running out of room.
Right.
You know, and as he, I think, continues to run out of room, this stuff's going to get more crowded. I'm sure he's got his Fans Toys Scourge by now. I'm not sure how that's sorted out in there because he's got to get
what are you going to do when you
get
that
Chug Scourge in there now?
What are you going to do when you complete the Fans Toys Menasor? Like, where are you going to put it?
Right. Same. Yep. Exactly.
Well, I think maybe it just comes down to a point where it's like, okay, what stuff do you want to display? Maybe there's just some stuff that you display and some stuff that has to wait until you can expand.
Yeah. Or you're going to have to expand.
But
it's lit. It's off the floor. They're laid out.
It's not overly crowded.
It's not overly crowded, but it's headed there.
Right.
But yeah, the Dinobots, you nailed it. You nailed the Dinobots.
Even the Megatron looks okay. Like the reason why that Megatron shelf works is because it has the symbol behind it.
Yeah, and I think, I agree. The symbol behind it adds a lot. And I think it would look even better if you posed Shockwave and Soundwave a bit more, gave them a bit more attitude, and raised them up off the floor.
You know what? You guys are onto something. A small riser for Soundwave and Shockwave.
Yeah.
Just enough to get a leg up. For each of them.
Yep.
But yeah, and I like the books on the bottom of the thing. You have them all risen on, like that you've used to get your detolfs off the floor. Like, good use.
This is good. This isn't bad yet.
For detolf, think about that, man.
When I see those Stunicons, it's just like a ticking time bomb with this display because it's got nowhere to go.
What's it with this Prime?
Yeah,
Monkey Prime.
Yeah, so that's the thing is like he's got a crowding issue, but if you look at the bottom 2 detolfs on the bottom 2 right, those he doesn't really know what he's doing with yet. He's got an MP10, he's got a different MP Prime, he's got some sort of Jetfire looking type thing.
He's got the trailer in there.
He's got the trailer in there. He's got the Monkey Prime in there. Like, what is going on in there?
Especially because you have it customized to fit the combiners. Those displays like that won't look as weird if they're on the top and then they feel like they would fit the space more.
You got to sort that out. Let's move on to the last one for tonight. This is from Kevin. So I don't know if he painted this, but those are like workspace shelves, like storage shelves, but in white, it doesn't bother me.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, it's disappointing because it looks good, but I hate seeing the rivet holes.
Yeah.
But it does look way better than unpainted.
Yeah.
And he's got, like, especially these bottom shelves, he does have it balanced out where like they're not overcrowded or some things are on riser. Like you did a good job.
Yeah.
With the exception of the Unicron, it looks like at the top he may be ducking down.
And he's ducking from that sprinkler is what he's ducking from.
Yeah, I know. He's like, come on, he's shining it on. He's like, come on.
I don't want to get rusty.
This
Go ahead, sorry.
sprinkler will pop any minute. I think that Jisk is right that the top shelf of this is needs the most work, but I think the rest of this is pretty successful. I would imagine that there's something that you can get, like those little, like even those like little like L-shaped cardboard corner things painted white that you could stuff in there to block out those holes for the white, you know?
Yeah, I've seen a guy, because I was thinking about maybe going this route, and there are people out there that customize and make like covers for these things just using magnets and like plexiglass. So there's ways to cover all that stuff up.
Yeah.
But I even like how this dude has the cars on the bottom, like the truck.
Yeah, the
Rodimus, it shouldn't work, but for some reason it does.
It does. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
He could even squeeze in a couple more car modes down there and have them facing forward. And it would look cool.
He could.
I even think like you kind of started this thing where like you have the flooring within this Jetfire one that you don't necessarily need the Teletran, but even if you put down some kind of flooring where it looked like they were standing on some kind of terrain, would work, I think, because it's so white in there.
Yeah.
It's not too crowded, you know?
No,
It's
not at all. Not at all. They're spaced well. There's risers. Like,
But again, we're looking at a mix of Chug and MP and Legends. So,
But I think that's all right. I think that helps balance it out a little bit because not everything is the same size.
yeah, and I think it's like it becomes like
I think he accounted for that.
yeah, and I think it becomes almost like a celebration in a way. You know what I mean? Like, like I think this really works.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the top.
Yeah, the top needs work.
That's particularly the top left is just kind of.
Yeah, that's his misfit.
That weird
That's the figures he doesn't care about. Go up there.
Werewolf is jamming out up there, though.
Like he's even got like his Dinobots all on one shelf, and they Swoop is a little bit ducked down, but it's not distracting. Like it still works.
Right.
He's got Swoop in the middle. That's the right choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the shelf below it seems balanced too, like with Hot Rod on it with the Matrix. Like that works.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
They're all posed. Hot Rod's in the middle. They've all got their own little space to shine, and this is really well done.
Yeah, I guess the thing is at this point, like, what are you going to do to pump this up now? You've kind of got a formula that works, but now how do you push it?
Got to cover up
And
the
I think-
holes and clean up the top.
Yep.
I dig that Cybertron planet, the illuminated planet with the arc flying away from it. That looks pretty cool. I've never seen that before.
No, I haven't either. That is cool.
I didn't know what that was, actually. Let me zoom in on that.
Oh, the Nemesis is there too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, in front of the Unicron.
Yeah.
That's cool. Man, that would almost be better as a centerpiece on one of the other shelves. Like, I don't know where you would put it, but...
Or hanging from the ceiling, maybe. From the piece.
hanging from that sprinkler.
Yeah. I wouldn't do that.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, like this is a matter of fine tuning, but you've figured it out. That's step one. Plug those holes, so to speak, is step one. Everything else is gravy.
What happens though if this guy collects, if and when he collects more figures? That's the thing.
There's room here.
He's got space.
He's got space.
You would just have to rethink how he groups it together, but he's definitely has space
Yeah.
for an aggressive expansion.
Yeah.
Dragons.
An angry giraffe. A sandworm from Dune.
Yeah. So, and from Beetlejuice. Books.
Books.
The